And 1 o'clock, and we are live again with Photoshop Party. Welcome to the party, folks. I'm
Woohoo!
starting off big today because we're doing brushes, and
Don't
brushes,
dip it in your drink.
there's so many things about brushes, half hour ain't going to cut it.
Yeah.
We're just going to buzz through really quick. I know a lot of people have a lot more knowledge than me in brushes. Sandra's got some extreme knowledge there. And anybody that's taken Sandra Pierce's class knows brushes. So let me go to share screen so you can see Photoshop. We'll see what happens. And go click. All right, there we go. I'm going to hide all the people off to the side. If you can moderate for me again, I would appreciate it because I got the faces disappeared. And
I'm happy to pay attention.
Okay. Wow. Where to begin with brushes? The easiest thing is the shortcut key for brushes. Everybody knows it's B for brush, right? B like in boy. Can you see my B flashing up there?
No.
Nope. Okay. Then I'm not even going to worry about having it on there then. I'll turn that puppy off because it makes a bunch of noise. Okay. I'm going to go across the top screen where we have the brush, I don't want to say brush palette, but the brush tool settings up at the top. And the first thing you'll see up here is where the brush setting, the first one is actually my presets. So I have a bunch of brush presets that I use on a regular basis. Those are up there, so I don't have to go find them in the brush palette when time comes due. So instead of going through here looking for all the different brushes, I don't have to worry about that.
So where do you put them?
Where do you put them? How do you get them there?
We'll show you once we get one open, and then
Okay.
show you how to save it up there. And then you just start saving all your brushes that you use. I've got eye whitener. I've got my logo brush. In fact, I got a couple of logo brushes up there.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's one that I use when I'm doing proofs, put on the internet, take my logo brush, click on it. That's the old one. That's the new one.
Want
And
that
then we
one?
have a logo brush. Just stamp it on there. Okay. Also on this tool here, you have size and hardness. So if we go to the soft brush, hardness is 0. 0 hardness, so it's soft. We also have size. And what drives me crazy is when people go up here, adjust the size, go back to their image. Nope, too small. Let's go a little bit bigger. Okay, let's go here. Oh, too big. Let's go back. They go back and forth, back and forth. The fastest way to do it is put it on the mark where you want to go, like an eyeball, and then use your left and right bracket keys to make it bigger. That helps a whole lot. And then you also have, let me bring up my cheat sheet. Control Option on Mac, so Control Option. You can slide it to the right, slide it to the left. So to the right, holding the Control and Option key down at the same time will make it bigger. Control and Option to the left will make it smaller. And then Control Option up will make it softer. Control Option down will make it harder, a hard edge brush. So let me make that a little bit bigger so you can see. And Control Option, if I go all the way to the top, you see that it's really soft around the edge, harder in the middle. So you can see the difference there. And as I go down, it becomes a solid brush. I like working with a soft edge brush most of the time because you can't see where I've been. If you're using the clone stamp tool or the healing brush, a soft edge brush will not leave the snail trails of the hard edge brush that you see. So you got to be careful about that. The next box over is the mode. And just like you have layer modes, you have normal, dissolve, the darkens. So you got darken, multiply, color burn, blah, blah, blah. the lightens, which are screen, color dodge, lighten, overlay, which goes to the midtones and handles that. Difference, I've never used that with a brush, but someday I might. Color, I've used a lot when I want to add a color to it or paint something over with the color. So play with those as you're going. If you're going to do multiply or screen, just remember to turn your opacity down on the brush because it will really hammer hard when it does it. Opacity, this one can save you a lot of time or it can give you a lot of headache. So playing with that. Opacity, the fastest way to make a change, I want to go to 10%. All I have to do is hit the one key and it goes to 10%. 3 for 30%, 5 for 50%. If you double tap twice really quick, it's 55%. And 0 is 100%. Now the question is, how do you get 0% opacity while you're playing with the brush? The keyboard shortcut for that.
What do you mean?
Tough question because it's a trick question. You can't paint in 0% opacity. So it was a trick question, sorry. So to show you the difference, let's do a hard edge brush. So I'll make it a hard edge brush, 100% opacity, 1 dot. We'll go to 10% opacity and you can see the difference there. In fact, let me put it close. So you have basically a very light gray or black. And then if I paint it a lot, I keep going in circles, nothing changes because you're not painting anything extra. If you do it again, then it shows up.
Why is the dot smaller?
Because I'm using my pen tool, and with the pen tool,
Oh, okay.
if I press hard,
Right.
you
Got it.
see the big one there.
Okay.
So that's opacity. Then you got flow. And a lot of people go, well, what's the difference between flow and opacity? Okay, let's go with the hard brush. You have flow. If you go to 10%, oops.
One.
Okay, I'm trying to shortcut things here and it's not working for me. And then the zoom menu pops up in front of where I'm going. So hold on one second. Let me see if I can hide this.
For the shortcut for opacity, I know, but I always forget the shortcut for flow.
You know, I don't know the shortcut for flow. If you turn on the airbrush, which is right next to flow, and you hit 1, then the opacity goes to, or the flow goes to 10%. So if the airbrush is on, it's going to go to flow. If the airbrush is off, it's going to go to opacity when you type in the
Okay, I
keyboard
thought it had a
shortcut.
different shortcut, so great, thank you.
There probably is one there, but I don't know what it is.
I think there might be, but I can't remember it.
So here we go with make sure my brush is nice and hard. And I'm gonna hit flow at, wow, I pushed hard and it made a small little one. So let's go ahead and, there we go. If I turn the airbrush on and I push hard, it makes a bigger brush. So I'm gonna take it to 10%. And I'll talk about the little dots you see there in a little bit. There's 10%. If I hold it down, it goes dark all the way. Whereas opacity, you hold it down to 10% and it won't go dark. So we'll go opacity, flow at 100. Come on, go back. Opacity at 100. And opacity at 10%. Too far. If I hold it down, nothing happens. But if I do flow at 10% and opacity at 100, the longer I hold it down, the more it goes dark for me. So that's the difference between those two. I don't know why, but all the zoom tools go right where I need them. Clear that out. Okay, smoothing. Have you guys played with smoothing at all yet?
No.
Okay, smoothing is really cool because if you want to do, let me do everything back to 100%. If you want to do a line, see how smooth the curves are on that? Take smoothing down to 10%. In fact, let's just turn it all the way off and try to do the same thing. See the difference in the smooth, how the first one popped up nice and smooth in the curves, and this one's really jagged. That's what smoothing can do. So if you keep smoothing at 100%, if you want the smooth brush.
Can you think of a time when you would not want it smooth?
When you are trying to do some really close touch-up work and you're in tight, you want to keep your smooth down.
Okay, that makes sense.
And it's got different settings here you can play with. Stroke catch-up and adjust for zoom are the two that are default. I just leave it like that. You can add catch-up on end. And you see how it took its time getting there? And then pull string mode. It
Oh, that's
kind of
interesting.
follows the string. So let me turn those back off again because it drives me crazy. And clear that out again. And then over here, where it says 0% or 0 degrees, I don't know what that does. So I am not knowledgeable in that. Sandra, do you know that one?
No, I don't know that one.
Okay, that makes two of us then.
What's the little thing next to it, though? Oh, I know what that is.
I thought that has to do with the angle, if it's not a round brush, if it's something like a calligraphy.
Set the brush angle, but I guess that's for selective brushes.
Yeah, it wouldn't make a difference on something round.
Right, the soft edge brush doesn't make a difference, but if you have the
Angled brush?
the oil painting brushes and stuff, I think it might affect that.
Or like the calligraphy
Yeah,
angle?
Yeah.
Let me see.
not that I do any good at calligraphy.
I don't do.
You know. I'm going to skip that one right now. And the next one looks like a butterfly.
Mhm.
Does everybody have that on their computers?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Cool. Okay, if you don't, you have to go into preferences, and I forget where it's at in there, but I could look it up. This is something really unique. This is for doing symmetry. And you see, I've got it straight up and down, so I'll say, okay, and hit return. And then as I
Ooh.
Oh, cool.
fun.
tell me, you couldn't do a whole lot with that.
Yes.
Is that
You
what
got
Go ahead.
horizontal axis, which is the same thing. If you want to change the axis as it comes up like that, all you have to do is just spin the dial a little bit where you like it, hit enter. I mean, it's just
Wow, I
something.
could make a cool mandala with that.
You could make all kinds of cool stuff with that. And then dual access.
Okay. Okay, I do
This-
not have the butterfly.
Okay, we'll find it in preferences for you in just a second.
Okay.
The dual access,
Fun.
Wow, that's cool.
Cool.
Wow.
Very
I mean,
cool.
think of the possibilities. Julianne Koss did a video and showed how you can make some really remarkable artwork with this.
Mhm.
So, watch Julianne Koss. She knows what she's doing. She's not bad.
Not hardly.
Yeah, not hardly. Okay, go to preferences and is it guides? No. I have to find it because I don't know where it is. Anyway, go through the preferences. You'll find it in there somewhere, but I don't know where it is. I apologize for not knowing the answer to that.
I'll try to look while you're doing this.
Okay.
What was the name of that tool?
Hang on, let me.
The butterfly tool.
I think it's Symmetry.
Yeah, I think it's Symmetry.
Okay.
I'm hovering over the top of it. Yeah, set Symmetry options for painting. So you could probably look up Symmetry in the help mode and it might show you where it's at in preferences.
Would it show up if you use the painting what window? You know how you can change your windows from one for yourself and for photography and for.
I think it's something in preferences that you have to turn on. It may have gotten turned off somewhere.
Really fun if you use that last one, the Mandela. That's good.
I haven't tried that one
Oh,
yet.
you haven't tried that one? That's fun.
Ooh.
Watch. Yeah, go. Okay, now
Oh, that will be fun to play with.
that is real fun.
See what it does.
Yeah.
Oh, wicked cool.
Wow.
Like totally, for sure. Very cool. Thank you. Okay. Next up, let me change my brush. I'm going to go. And one of the things you'll notice when you're playing with brushes and you go to the brush selector up here is the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 brushes that you've used are saved.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to the leaf brush.
Okay.
And with this tool on the upper left portion of this, you can squish your brush down. You can rotate it so the brush goes differently. I'm just going to leave it a plain leaf brush right now. Size, I'm going to take way down.
Now, if you change it, can you save what you changed so you have one brush that's big and one brush that's little?
Well, let's go ahead and do that. I have a little brush up right now, which is teeny tiny. In fact, I want to save a color to go with it. So let's go ahead and put some green in there. So all I did was clicked on the top color, which is the color I'm going to work with. And so it should paint green. Cool. I'm going to go to where you can go a couple places. One, click on the brush setting again, and on the right-hand side, you have the plus.
Okay. Ah,
Create a new preset from this brush.
right.
Click on that, scattered leaves, and it's 983. The reason it's 983, it's not a brush number, but it's actually the size of the brush, the original brush size when it came out. So I'm going to just say scattered maple leaves, capture this brush in brush size and preset, include tool settings. Sure, why not? If I save it a different way, I'm also, oh, there it is. Include color down at the bottom. Click on that.
Yeah, so it'll be green.
Click OK. Ta-da. It also went down to the bottom. And you'll see at the bottom down here, it also has my color that goes with it. The color that I saved it as. Clear that out, go over here. It should be maple leaf. Where are you? That's not in there.
Ah. You didn't
Okay.
save it?
I saved it, but I guess I saved it as a new brush down here and it didn't go into the tools. So what I'll do is open up my toolbox. Brush tool, scattered maple leaves. Well, I'm just going to make it maple leaves, scattered maple leaves. And I'm going to say green. because that's the color I made it. I'm going to click on the box that says include color, so it is checked. Click OK, and it's now at the bottom of my saved. So when you have a brush that you like that you use all the time, you can save all the settings with it, which will include the opacity, the flow, the smoothing, everything, and it will save it in here for you.
Where did you get that one to begin with?
It's in your default brushes.
Okay.
When you saved it, how did you do that again? How did you get to that screen?
Okay, let me close this out. Well, let me show where to find the brush first, and then I'll get to that. Oh, I've got these saved differently on my computer here than my desktop. It should be under Legacy Brushes, and I want to say Default. And there it is down at the bottom left-hand corner on mine. Wow, we got 10 minutes left already. Wowzers. Scattered maple leaves down at the bottom left. So that's where I found it, under the default brushes under Legacy. To save it, you go to your brush presets, which is right here. Click on the plus button right here, which is add a preset.
Okay.
Title it, make sure you put a title on there so you know what it is, and then include color if you want the color included, and click OK, and it's down at the bottom for you.
Okay.
Scattered maple leaves. Okay, let's get rid of that. Make my brush a little bigger. This is something that in 10 minutes we can't cover, but I'm going to go as fast as I can with it. Shape dynamics. We're going to go to brush settings. So if you don't have it as a small setting right here, what you do is you go to Window, Brush Settings, or you should be able to hit F5 and bring up the brush settings as well. Size jitter. Basically, jitter will make it bounce around. So if size jitter, if I make it small, they're all going to be small. If I take my size jitter up, say to 100%,
Is that so it looks random?
so it looks random.
Okay.
I turn the pin off, and there's some small ones, some big ones. Let me make this a little bit bigger. You can see the jitters a little bit. Minimum diameter. And then you have angle jitter. Angle jitter will turn the brush back and forth to make it look like it's random. So not all the leaves are pointing up and not all the leaves are pointing down. So you want to definitely have that on there. Roundness jitter. Well, there's no roundness for this one. And then you can check these boxes down here to play with a little bit. Scattering. The scatter will make it, if you look on the bottom of my brush settings right there, and when I go scatter, it makes the leaves scatter a whole bunch. So let's do that. And then you drag it across and see how they scatter a whole lot more. If you take the count up, they're closer together. The count down, they're further apart. Color dynamics, you got hue jitter, which changes things, and saturation jitter, which changes things. And then also foreground to background. So what you just play with these and see what you like, how they work.
Very cool.
Transfer, I don't remember what transfer does. And then the bottom ones, the last 6 down here, or 5, I guess. When you click on them, it doesn't bring up a slider setting. So there's nothing you can do to change those except like wet edges. Take off wet edges. You see the difference between the two. We'll do no wet edge. And then next to or underneath it, we'll do wet edge. And you can see it's not quite the opacity setting, I guess. Again, just play with these and enjoy what you're doing with them.
It's fun.
We only got a few more minutes left, so let me do something really, really quick. What I want to do is I want to make a brush for you guys and show you how easy it is. So I'm going to go in my type tool, T for type. And I'm going to go to Taken by Vulture's Demo, which is my font that I use for my business. Michael Collins. And then the photography is going to be in Arial. No, don't change. Add that. There we go. Go to Arial. Where'd you go? There you is. And you'll see all of the. Okay, I'm typing. Why are you not typing?
Oh, that did that to me today too. I don't know what-
Oh, I can tell you why, because my type was way too big.
Oh,
When things go bad on you, always check your top toolbar.
I've heard that before, Mike.
And it's still not doing it. Okay, we'll hit escape. Do it again. Do away from it. How's that? And we'll go to
okay.
10 point. And go to
Where'd you get
Arial.
by vultures from?
It was from DA Font.
What?
DA
Oh,
Font.
the font, yeah.
The font. And that one works really cool. Photography. And we'll make it a Command A, make it a little bit bigger. Way too big, too fast. Wow. Do it the old fashioned way, 30. Hit return. I'm running out of time. I'm panicking, going too fast.
Calm down, Michael, you're fine.
Okay, I'm going to take the marquee tool. In fact, let me flatten this out. So I'm going to go to here to remember the first class we did, flatten image, history. I want to be in layers, flatten image. Take my marquee tool, select those. Make sure what you want to print is black, because black prints. I'm going to go to Edit, Define Brush Preset, Logo, Lolo. How about logo? And we'll call this the party logo. Click OK. And now I have a brush. So Command D to deselect, brush, 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 brush. That's how easy it is to do. You marquee what you want, go up to Edit, Define Brush Preset, and that will make the brush preset for you. Make sure you title it what you want it to be. Okay.
What if you have a logo that's like pre-made for you with graphics and stuff? Can you do that in that way?
You can make a brush out of anything. I made a brush out of a baseball, out of a cat's face. Anything you have, let's go to regular brush, soft edge. Let's do sampled brush. I don't know what that is. We'll find out. There we go. I can make a brush out of that.
Okay.
Let's do it in black. So D for default colors, B for brush, marquee tool. I said marquee tool, M for marquee. Edit, define brush preset, sample brush. No, we'll call it face.
Something.
Okay, so
Deselect, clear that off. There you go. We have a brush preset made.
Okay.
So anything you want to do, you can make a brush out of.
but you don't get any nuances of color, right?
No, you get shades of gray. If I wanted to paint this, well, let's do,
Yeah.
It's all one, brushes are all one color.
That's what I wondered, yeah.
You can't take a green and a blue and a black and make it into a brush. Okay, any other questions? We're almost out of time and I'm rushing super fast. Less than a minute to go.
I found something on the Symmetry and I put a link in the group chat for people.
Oh,
Hang
cool.
on, thank you. Let me go grab that
So
before.
everybody go check your chat. And
It's for toggling Symmetry on and off. And there's also a really cool example of, actually, it's funny, I mentioned mandala and they were talking about mandala symmetry. I'm sure it's
Oh, mandala is great fun.
super. Okay.
Thank you.
How do
My
you
pleasure.
bring a brush from one version of Photoshop into another?
You should be able to just drag your brushes over from one to the other. So it shouldn't be a
Oh.
problem dragging them
Okay,
over.
I'll try that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And if you need help, just give me a call and I'll help you.
If they're a
Okay.
folder, you click
Thank
on,
you.
sometimes they go immediately into Photoshop. That's what I,
Well, I've got them all in at CS6, and since I'm on CC, and now
Yeah.
my second version is